Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know, where we focus on the entertainment industry on a different level. Not only will there be artist and actor interviews of known and unknown talent, but insight into the team behind them that helps them build their brand. Each week, we'll tackle a different person in the industry with talents in their own rights. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know with Zag. This evening we have Anesia Sandifer. I am so happy to have her as a guest again. And I say that because we've spoken before. So how are you this evening?
Very, very good. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm still kind of like reeling off of the events from yesterday, but you know.
Yes. Yes. I was like, how timely that we get to talk today.
Because that was just, you're out there, aren't you?
I actually am in Georgia right now. So I was helping the election, which is also a big event that happened yesterday as well. Yes. So, turned Georgia blue. So excited. Yeah. So, yeah.
All the way blue. So, yes. I want to start off, from the beginning. And you said you started off with dance when you were 4, which is super young. And I know my parents tried that with me in ballet, and I was like, I'm good. And I did I did tap for a little bit. But did you go through like the other elements of dance before you landed on Afrikan dance?
I did. I actually didn't start doing Afrikan dance until I was about 24 years old, right before I was going professionally. So before that, I did ballet, tap, jazz. I did a little bit of gymnastics. I'm still trying to get a backflip one day, but we'll see about that. And then in college, when I got my minor in dance, I did a lot of modern, jazz, ballet. Yeah. And that's when I started doing step as well.
So let me ask you a question just about Afrikan dance in general, right? Mm-hmm. And I know we didn't discuss this last time, but you know how they say, everything really comes from Africa, right? So what would you say, what takes more from that style of dance? What style of between tap and, and all the other genres?
Takes more in terms of energy or?
In energy. And
oh, no, you're talking about in terms of coming from African roots. I feel... And when it comes to Africa, of course, the motherland, I've gotten to visit it so many times and it's been amazing. I would say that a lot of tap and anything that has a rhythm with it really is big. And you can see a lot of the roots from Africa. Of course, ballet is more Western. And when you see tap, it comes from, I want to say, actually, let me start out of that over. I would say ballet is, of course, more European. Mm-hmm. Ballet is more European. And then when we come to African, anything that has a rhythm, a beat. So I feel like a lot of times when I am doing the tap, I get to feel that rhythm and that groove. But honestly, anything, you have to move your body. You have to make sure you're being in sync with the movement and in sync with the movie, with the music that you have. Yeah. So a lot of that has African roots.
So now you received your BA in finance from University of Georgia, and then went directly into that field and then wound up going into dance like a couple of years after that. Was that when you got the Debbie Allen scholarship?
It actually is. Yes, I got the Debbie Allen scholarship while I was still working as a financial analyst. I went up to New York that summer. Actually, it was around that springtime when I was living in New Jersey, got the scholarship, and it was kind of an awakening to maybe this really is where I need to be, moving and transitioning out of this role and out of this career into dance. So it was great because I had no idea about the audition until the day of, honestly. Wow. I went the day of, did the audition, got chosen for a scholarship, and turns out I ended up getting a lot of other funds taken care of after I just continued to talk to them. So I ended up getting free housing, got to be an RA as well, which they said I was one of the first actual students who also was an RA, but because of my experience with it, it all kind of, it really just worked out. All in God's
meant to be, probably. You know what I mean? So was she like that show Fame where she had the cane and she's walking around and she's like, if you want to work, and then she slams it. Was it like that? Or
I must say it was very intimidating whenever Miss Allen came into the room. You always had to pull up and know that it was time for business.
Right.
Everything that she told us was very straightforward, but also very loving. And you can tell that she really cares about all of her students. And that's what makes people love and adore her, right? In the genre of dance, everybody wants to learn from her and just be around her to witness all of her greatness. So yes, she was very strict at times, but it's necessary in dance. So I always appreciate it.
It's interesting. I saw live with she and her sister Felicia, and it was just, did you see that too?
Yes. I saw parts of it.
And watching them back and forth, and they're both so beautiful and so humble, but also so dedicated to their individual crafts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can tell that they just want the best for their students as well.
Right. It's always good to see them, and they're always uplifting and helping each other out. I just love that they have that sisterhood, and they've been able to become amazing women and so influential in so many different genres. So, yeah.
And ageless. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Come on. Yes, I remember getting to actually see Phylicia Rashad for a show that I was performing at, and we were going insane. We were just watching her, looking at her like, that's really her. Oh my gosh, she just looked like a beauty queen, just a queen in itself, like all encompassing. So it was great to just see her and stand by her or around her.
Yeah, you know what's funny is when I was younger and I would see people and I'm like, you know, they would see Michael Jackson or they would see someone and I'm like, why are they acting like that? You know, he's a regular person. And then I met Fabulous one day, who I just like a super fan of, and I was just like, hi. Like, and you don't want to be the girl that has like a tear in her eye. So, you know, we had like a little like small talk, and then I went home and I was like, so that's pretty much why. You know what I mean? Because you're like, wow, they really worked hard to get where they are. And okay. So
inspirational.
Yeah. So can we talk about Step Afrika? Like, how did you become a part of that?
Yes, so Step Afrika, it's I learned how to step in college. So with my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, shout out to all of my sorors out there. I learned how to step, and after being out of school for a little while, I really just, of course, missed dancing. I missed performing. I missed being on stage. And Step Afrika, they actually came to my university while I was in undergrad. I wasn't able to make the actual show, but for some reason that name always stuck in my head. I was like, oh, Step Afrika. And when I moved to Jersey, I looked them up. And I saw that they were in DC and you can audition, and I was able to get down there to audition. So I made a commitment. I remember at the top of that year, I was like, I'm going to audition for Step Afrika and I want to get in Step Afrika. So I started training, I started practicing, rehearsing, and yeah, I went down for the audition in May. I guess there were about 50 or so people that auditioned. And out of that 50, I was one of the 2 people that were selected to be in the company for the fall. So, yes.
I mean, if you ever needed a sign that this is what you're supposed to be doing in your life.
Yes, I know. And it was even more crazy because I got the call that I got it right before, literally the day before I was going to fly out to LA for the Debbie Allen Summer Intensive. So I was waiting for maybe a month or so, waiting to hear back to see if I got it. Everything in my life at that time was just all over the place because it was like, I want to do this transition, change, show me a sign. And when I heard that I got it, it was amazing. So, and then I was going off to LA to study with Miss Allen. I was like, this is just lining right on up. So thank you.
So while you were there, you were made the U.S. Cultural Ambassador. And what does that kind of entail? Because I know you're traveling the world. So what are those duties?
Yes. So Step Afrika, the actual company, we are U.S. cultural ambassadors for, of course, the United States. So we get to travel around for different trips. And basically, we are exchanging and sharing the culture of the United States with other people around the world. So because the African culture is one thing, but also stepping is such a American tradition. We were able to teach people stepping all around the world who had never even heard of the style. So we got to let them know about different rhythms and really immerse them in the history of stepping and let them have an exchange and just learn more about our culture.
So have you seen anything like come of that? Like what was kind of the response, when you were going to different places or even now?
Yeah, it's always very overwhelming and an amazing response. For some reason, stepping, because it's really just clapping and stepping and different lines that you do with your body, a lot of people are able to learn it and pick it up and really give that energy that we need whenever we teach stepping. So once we are done teaching it and once we have a great class, everybody always loves it. And as we're leaving, they're like clapping, they're hooting, they're doing all these things like, yeah, let me show you the step. Let me show you the step. And look what I learned. And oh my gosh, I love the class. And it's always such a great response just to know that we can share something with people who don't even speak the same languages as sometimes. Right. So it's to know that we can share something. There's always something that you can learn and share with other people around the world and just merge that culture and just get to know each other better.
Yeah. If you ever do like a virtual African dance step class, let me know, because here's the thing. I see it, I see people dancing on TV and like, I'm an awesome chair dancer. Like don't sleep on the chair dance. Like anything from here up.
Oh. Got it.
But, I've always wanted to kind of learn that technique and those movements. So if that's ever something you do, like put me on your blast email and I'll pay and log in.
Will do. Yes, will do. Definitely. Yeah. Cause it is fun and it can definitely be taught virtually. So I'll let you know about that.
Okay. So I know that it kind of slowed down because of COVID, right? But then you became more active in the protests this year. So how do you feel that's kind of affected your outlook on your purpose?
Okay. So yes, for sure. Those protests were a big part of COVID and of course everybody's 2020, right? Yeah. So for me, that 1 week when George Floyd was killed was extremely hard for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm sure for other people as well. It was just a gut-wrenching time and I just felt hopeless, and it's crazy because it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
And I've always been passionate about, really, I'm passionate about people, and I'm passionate about showing your love and care for other people. So to see that Black people in America don't always get that same love and care, and we're not seen as human beings, always hurts me, and it really affects me a lot. So I wanted to go out and protest and just show people that we really have to stick together, and we need a change to happen. We need things to stop being how it is now, and we need to move forward. So I wanted to be a part of that movement because it was such an awakening for everybody. People who were Black, people who weren't, and they thought that they were allies, or some people realizing that, hey, there's a lot of work that I need to do inside, and let's start fixing that. Let's start uncovering that and figuring out what I can do next. So it definitely just opened my eyes to say, yeah, I need to be more in the scene. I already am, but I need to just continue that push.
And that's, going on what we were talking about before, earlier, seeing like the double standard and just the overwhelming like hypocrisy of, versus the Black community versus, these protesters. It's like, if we would have stormed the Capitol, those would have been bodies on the steps. This wouldn't have been, people getting in. It would have been a completely different, situation. And it's just like, I commend, just everyone who does the protests and who's out there. And I do what I can on my part. It's just like, it has to be heard. So I really, I thank you and, everyone, United Freedom and those organizations. So I reached out to you because I saw that really, really powerful video that you did to Tobe Nwigwe's Make It Home song. And it was so beautiful and so powerful because, I'm a mother to a Black son. My son literally, he asked me, oh, can I go out and sans COVID, right? Just him being a young Black man. Every time he goes out, I'm like, I have the tracker on his phone. I'm like, make sure, I'm giving him instructions before he leaves. So that video was so powerful to me. And I understand that this was dedicated to a childhood friend who had passed. So can you talk more about that and how you came up with the idea?
Yes. So after the protests and Tobe putting out the pandemic project, on it, I of course saw Make It Home and the Breonna Taylor song that he put out. And it really just got me thinking internally. It was almost a form of therapy just to know that that song, Make It Home, really touched people in a very real way. Yeah. It's scary whenever you leave the house and any of your family members leave the house and you really don't know 100% if they are going to make it home. Yeah. So for me, I started thinking about the different people in my life who have been affected by not only police brutality, but gun violence in general, and just all the unexpected things that could happen in someone's life, and the people who have lost ones and people here dealing with it today. And it really made me feel like I needed to do something. But that push came from, of course, my friend who did pass away in September. Yeah. So he was killed from gun violence. And after that happening, it was already in my head that I used to listen to that Make It Home song over and over and over. It at night, listen to the lyrics, just thinking about it. And the fact that that also happened, I just knew I needed to put something out and share my story, share other people's stories, and just let people have a time to grieve, a time to connect, a time to really hone in on those feelings that we all think about and we all talk about, but sometimes isn't seen in an artistic way.
So you did such a beautiful job with it. Like, I watched it. I don't know how many views it has, but at least 20 of those are mine. So you choreographed and directed that, correct?
I did.
And so how does that affect the way you dance and the way you know, place people once you have a view behind the lens? Did it make it easier or more difficult?
I would say that the whole directing experience in general I actually loved it. I've always been someone who's been in front of the camera. So I'm a performer by nature. I've always just been there. And being on that other side, being the choreographer, being the director, you see how much work goes in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's more just you being right here, who's in the center, who's to the right. It's about the placement. It's about the angles. It's about the actual levels, the message, the venue, the locations, all of that stuff matters. And it really just made me think about the experience and the performing arts as a whole versus me just being on this side and having that one-sided mind. I now see that it takes a lot more than just the performer, and the director really, he or she, because that was me, he or she is the boss, and they really have a lot of stuff going on, and it takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah. Could you see some doing something like that, like continually, like again?
Yes, it actually really sparked my creativity, and just in terms of knowing that I have a lot of choreography and I always have things in my mind that I've always wanted to do, but I am happy that I took that leap and finally did it. So 2020, I know it had a lot of ups and downs, but I'm very happy that that is one extreme upside that I can say I was able to direct and choreograph and perform in my own project. And that's really just the beginning. I really want to do more. I want to share different stories and help people heal throughout my visions.
Yeah. And I always say that, like, people who are creative and do creative arts, like, that's something that's very much so in you, right? Like, it comes just out of you. It's like part of your DNA, right? And even sometimes as a songwriter, I'm like, I have these blocks and I'm like, you know, just it won't, I can't figure it out. I can't get the right words or what have you. Does that happen to you as a dancer? Is it movement block? I don't know. Is it does that ever happen?
I would say definitely, because even when I was first listening to the song over and over, I never envisioned that I was really going to make choreography and make the project that I did at the beginning. So at first I started, all I had was one move at the beginning. It was just, I knew I wanted to do this one move going around. And from there, I would play with it a little bit. And if I don't get it, or nothing comes to me, then I just rest on it, and then I have to just start the next day, and it keeps building and building and building. And a lot of times when I do have, I don't know what I want to do there, it helps when I have the bodies of the different artists actually in the room. And when I see it on the bodies, I'm able to say, okay, I did envision it in my head one way, but looking at the people that I have and really seeing how we can bring it to life even more, I want to change it to this, or I'm going to sleep on it and figure it out sometime later. So yes, and there's always room for improvement in our head, of course, you know, like you could have done this or that, but I
don't know if you do this, but when I record a song, I listen to it like this. Like I close one eye, like I don't want to see the note. I don't.
That's no. I feel like
we're always our own worst critic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and sometimes I'll just look, instead of looking like actually at the people, I'll look at a different spot where I can kind of see everybody, but not really see everybody. So I'll be just looking like this,
right?
And I'll just look this way, and then I can see it, and then I'll end up looking directly at the people and at myself as well.
Right.
Because even with me, I actually watching myself on camera has been a love-hate relationship, because it's like I like to do it, and then once the videos are out, I do not like to look at myself. But I realize it's something that you have to do it in the dance industry, just to see how you're doing and how you're progressing and what you can and can do better, or some stuff that you're actually killing, you know?
Right.
So it helps to look.
So the people that you were dancing with, is that your new company, or just people that you dance with sometimes?
Those people were actually members of the company that I was in, Step Afrika. Some are currently in the company, and some weren't in the company, but they all have different abilities. So I was able to get some good contemporary dancers and people who I know could get the movement.
Yeah.
And it was great. It's always great to have that community, because you get to use your friends, and they use yourself, just to have a good artistic exploration, and to share different people's visions. Because I've been in different videos for some of the people in the video that I was in, that I did, and vice versa. So it's always nice to be able to have friends who can dance.
So tell me, as a dancer and a choreographer, for anyone who even might want to get into this, right? Obviously, the younger you start, it's probably better, only because your skills and your body is more flexible. But what do you think are some other things for people who would like to get into, say, African dance? Like, what would be good for them to do?
The number one thing I would say to do is to train. So find those choreographers, find those really good dance teachers who know what they're doing, who have good resumes, and really know their stuff, and learn from them. Because if you want to aspire to be those people, you have to learn from the best and learn from them, and try to get to that stage. So definitely train, and as well as don't give up. Always, if you have that passion for it and you're willing to put in the work to do it, and if it's in your plan, it's going to be in your plan. So stick to it, work as hard as you can, and really don't give up. Just keep training, keep having those goals, keep stretching, and you'll get it.
So I know we talked about this earlier, and I was actually only 20% joking. Would you be open to doing like classes online, like virtual classes, or in-person classes, or anything like that this year?
No, definitely. I want to start doing more classes. I want to start just putting myself and my content out more. So now that 2021, I have a list of goals and things that I want to do. So yes, look out for something. I'm going to have some classes coming up soon. So yes.
So I know you said that you just helped out in Georgia. So what's next for you?
Yeah, so speaking of that, that was also something I wanted to say that was a part of 2020. Just seeing the stuff that did happen with the protests propelled me to get back and want to do more political stuff. So I helped with some of the campaigns. I was actually an assistant manager for one of the polling stations, and I want to just continue to use my body as a vessel for God, with different things that I know are passionate to me. So I really want to get into more choreography, of course, putting more content out, and building my brand overall as a performer, host, actress. I've been doing a little bit more acting as well, and really just try to get focused on my path as a performing artist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I am like super excited. I want you to please tell everyone where they can find you, where they can see your work. And I will also, everyone, I'm going to put it in links down below. So make sure that you also follow her. Go ahead.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Niche20. That's NEESH 20. I am also on Facebook. My dance page is Anesia Sandifer. And yeah, I'm also on TikTok as well, Anesia Chanel. And yeah, I'm going to be having a lot of stuff coming up. So just look out.
Well, thank you again for coming. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Talent You Should Know. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well as leave a review. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.